Kiev court arrests three senior officers accused of failed defense operations of Kharkiv Oblast. Second topic, Zelensky meets German opposition leader Merz and Israeli President Herzog at Davos Forum. And a third topic, it needs to end. That is State Secretary Rubio's position on Russia's war against Ukraine. How exactly would it end? Let us find out in this very episode. Good afternoon, my name is Enrique and we are UATV English, an English-speaking Ukrainian state media in constant persuasion to deliver hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky separately met with German opposition leader Friedrich Merz and Israeli President Herzog on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos today. Talks between Zelensky and Merz focused on necessary efforts and coordinated actions with allies to achieve a just and lasting peace, the presidential office says. Merz is the chancellor candidate of the conservative CDU-CSU alliance for the parliamentary elections in February. The German politician who met Zelensky in Kiev last December has urged Berlin to provide more decisive support to Ukraine and supported the provision of long-range Taurus missiles. Speaking to Merz in Davos, Zelensky underscored the critical importance of Germany approving an additional €3 billion defense support package for Ukraine. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has blocked the approval of additional funds for Ukraine unless they are paid through additional borrowing, drawing a heavy criticism from his coalition partners. Merz's party, whose support is crucial for passing the funding since Scholz's coalition lost the majority in the parliament, backed the additional funding for Ukraine but insisted the federal budget can cover it without abandoning the debt brake. Also, apart from figures and currencies and very much contrary to pacifying cowardice and negligence of Olaf Scholz and his party, Friedrich Merz seems to be the person who clearly understands appeasement of a thug that broke into your house will only tease thugs' appetites.
Our position is clear, as is that of our parliamentary faction. We want Ukrainian army to be able to strike military bases in Russia, not civilian targets, not infrastructure, but military sites from which your country is being attacked. German opposition leader Friedrich Merz.
In Davos, during his meeting with Israeli President Herzog, Zelensky highlighted shared challenges and agreed on areas for future cooperation, obviously, and particularly in the field of security. Ukraine has sought to secure Israel's backing in the war with Moscow, arguing that Russian-Iranian alliance presents a shared enemy to both Kiev and Tel Aviv, which is an obvious fact. Also quite obvious is the reason why Ukrainian outreach has been largely unsuccessful. Until now, Israel stayed out of the Russia-Ukraine war because it is fighting its own battles in Gaza and Lebanon. As the Palestinian militant terrorist group Hamas recently released 3 Israeli hostages in the first phase of a ceasefire deal between the group and Tel Aviv, the Ukrainian president commented that Ukraine understands the pain of having loved ones held in captivity and shares the joy when people finally return home. The Kiev court arrests General Yuri Halushkin, General Artur Hobenko, and Colonel Ilya Lapin, 3 officers accused of leading an unsuccessful defense in Kharkiv Oblast during a Russian offensive last spring. Russia launched a cross-border offensive into northeastern Kharkiv Oblast in May 2024, swiftly moving forward by several kilometers despite Ukraine's efforts to fortify border regions. Though the Russian offensive eventually stalled some 25 kilometers, which is 15 miles north of Kharkiv, its initial success sparked outrage against regional and military leaders for poor defense planning. The 3 officers responsible for organizing the defenses were detained by the Security Service of Ukraine on January 20th. They were accused of violating military regulations and not using all resources at their disposal to repel the Russian offensive. This led to the seizure of parts of the territory in the eastern Ukrainian region where fierce fighting is currently ongoing, the SBU said. Halushkin commanded the Kharkiv Operational Tactical Group. Hobenko led the 125th Territorial Defense Brigade that was deployed in the area, and Lapin commanded the brigade's 415th Battalion. The three suspects were charged with negligence in military service and, in Horbenko's and Lapin cases, also carrying out unauthorized withdrawal from the battlefield. They face up to 10 years in prison.
The charged officials did not ensure the fortification and engineering arrangements of defensive positions in Kharkiv Oblast. They did not ensure proper organization of units during the battle. The State Bureau of Investigation of Ukraine.
The suspects' lawyers protested the charges. Well, of course, that is what the lawyers do, right? But the trial comes against the backdrop of several scandals connected to poor command and organization in different brigades. Military mismanagement has often been cited as one of the key challenges plaguing Ukraine's armed forces as it faces the Russian advance in the east. First thing first, what is the position of U.S. Secretary of State? It's top-notch Washington's diplomatic position, and the person in this role is responsible for carrying out the president's foreign policy decisions and advising the president on issues of international concern. End of quote, according to the National Museum of American Diplomacy. So Marco Rubio now replaces Antony Blinken, who played a leading role in the U.S.-Ukraine relations throughout Russia's full-scale invasion launched in early 2022. It was Blinken, along with his British counterpart David Lammy, who in September first received President Volodymyr Zelensky's detailed account of why Ukraine needs permission to strike targets deep inside Russia using Western missiles. Blinken has made numerous important announcements regarding Ukraine, including humanitarian assistance from the U.S., the provision of air defense, and F-16 fighter jets. He has also made numerous trips to Kyiv during Russia's criminal full-scale war against Ukraine. While on the job, it was Blinken who was largely supportive of Ukraine and of providing Kyiv with what is needed to fight back against Russia's invasion. Marco Rubio, though, has publicly praised the bravery of Ukrainian defenders, but was amongst those 15 Republican lawmakers in the Senate who voted against the $61 billion aid package for Ukraine in early 2024. Its delay severely hampered Ukraine's fight against Russian forces. I think the Ukrainians have been incredibly brave and strong in standing up to Russia, Rubio said. However, in terms of resolution to the war, Rubio's statements and actions have been very much geared towards negotiation and an end to the fighting rather than giving Ukraine what it needs to push Russian forces from its land. But at the end of the day, adds Marco Rubio, what we are funding here is a stalemate war, and it needs to be brought to a conclusion, for that country is going to be set back 100 years. Well, Mr. Rubio, if that is true, and Ukraine has to go 100 years back, we only just reached Russia's level with its Tsar's deadly imperial ambitions. In September, Rubio insisted he was not on Russia's side, but that the reality of it is that the way the war in Ukraine is going to end is with a negotiated settlement. End of quote. And here is how Marco Rubio sees this negotiated settlement.
I would be comfortable with a deal that ends these hostilities and that I think is favorable to Ukraine, meaning that they have their own sovereignty, that they don't become a satellite state or a puppet state that is constantly held hostage by the Russians. I'm not going to prejudge any agreement. Marco Rubio, U.S. Secretary of State.
I'm not prejudging also. Will that be okay for the Ukrainian nation? I don't know. I guess it might be, but I leave that to the Ukrainian nation to decide. Still, I'm cautiously optimistic about the fact that Marco Rubio understands one absolutely crucial thing right. For Ukraine, a ceasefire on Putin's terms is a cease of existence as a sovereign state. And for the rest of the free world, it means a World War III in full swing, with all the dictators of the world united when they see that a free world prefers negotiating about freedom rather than fighting for it. Well, that will be all for tonight. Thank you so very much and for your precious time with us. My name is Henry Keen and we are UATV English, an English-speaking Ukrainian state media doing our very best to deliver hard truth in easy terms for you, for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. So please like, share, and let us know how we're doing. Comment. Your voice matters as it helps Ukrainian voice to be heard globally. Stay safe and tune for more ready tomorrow. Goodbye.